Hello and welcome. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Amy.
And this is J&A
Travel Day. So the next morning, once we woke up, we kind of started our routine. It became a routine pretty quickly. So while I was getting ready for the day, Jonathan would grab a broom out of the kitchen and he would start dusting off the spider webs.
Yeah, dusting off, wiping down outside, because that would be where you'd spend the next 3 to 6 hours. So we would wipe the benches down. I would go out there and hit all the spider webs off the boat and just make sure the outside of the boat was in good condition and ready to go. And do our, what they would call pre-trip inspection, just to make sure that the engine was in good working order and we would be ready to go. The other thing that we didn't mention in the beginning that we wanted to point out, they do give you bikes, which are awesome if you are looking to go anywhere a little further than walking distance from the boat in each port. And then also they do teach you how to fill up water because your tank is not big enough for obviously a 7-day to keep water in it the whole time. So they show you how to do that. And we would either do it at night before we went to bed or the next morning when we woke up, just to ensure if we got to the next spot and they didn't have potable water, that we would have enough to last overnight. So those are the couple of things that we did each morning or right before we went to bed each night.
Yeah, filling up the water was super easy. They have a hose there. You just connect it up, and then the tank is at the front of the ship under one of the seat cushions where the table is. So super easy, not at all difficult. But yeah, that next morning we set sail and we were heading to probably one of the towns I wasn't looking forward to, but it ended up, I think, being one of our favorite spots, if not our favorite spot.
Definitely. It kind of took us off guard.
Yeah.
Medina. So Medina is where we ended up. And let me tell you, we thought that Pittsford was hustling and bustling.
Yeah.
Medina had it going on because when we arrived there, as we had mentioned, it was a holiday weekend and they had a car show going on a half a block from where we docked our boat.
Yeah, it was so cool to see all these old cars and just kind of interact and walk around with some of the locals that were there.
And they even had an Elvis impersonator that was singing. And let me tell you, the people there were eating it up, including Amy. She had some pretty wicked dance moves to Elvis's songs that you'll see here.
Everybody, sit down, wave your hands.
After the car show ended, or in between the car show, we actually went back because we didn't want to wait for any of the restaurants because they were a little busier.
But I will say they had some restaurants that were highly recommended there.
Yep. But we ended up just going back to the boat and we grilled on the boat, which was a lot of fun. We made some burgers that night.
So yeah.
And I believe we had...
Oh, we went to this diner that was down the street. And we just popped in there. We bought some fries. We bought some cheesecake. And we were eating good that night.
Yep. Cooked some burgers with some fries from the diner. And it was an old classic looking diner. And then we had our cheesecake for dessert.
It was very good. Very delicious. Good job, bub. And then that next morning, we thought, okay, well, before we hit the, I almost said road, before we hit the water, let's pop into town and see if we can get a coffee somewhere. So as we were walking down the main street, we saw a guy, using a water hose to clear off the street. And he just started chatting with us. And we're like, oh, yeah, we're on a houseboat here. He's like, oh, that's so cool, blah, blah, blah. And then he starts talking about where he worked. He was the manager of some kind. And he was so proud of working for Bent Opera House and all the work they were doing to restore and just wanted to show it off. So we ran, grabbed our coffee, and at his request, we came back and he gave us a tour of this old opera house that's now a boutique hotel and wedding venue.
Yeah, and it was just beautiful inside. We'll have some pictures here for you all to see, but he introduced us to some of the people that worked there that were cleaning the rooms. And you can really tell they took such pride,
So much pride.
into what they did and keeping this place looking the way it did. So just a unique opportunity that we had just by meeting this guy on the side of the road, for a lack of a better way of saying it. And he just took us through, we were with him for like an hour. And he just took us to the different rooms and explained the processes and showed us where people would get married. Just an awesome experience.
Definitely. Highly recommend. If you're there, stay at the hotel because just good people, just fantastic people. Now, they also have in Medina, the, what is it?
It's the largest railroad and toy train museum in New York State. So if you have any interest in that, it is a building. There is an admissions fee to go into it, but it is the largest in New York State.
Definitely. So we did end up finally hitting the water. And on this day, we actually had just a quick stop that we were going to do, not an overnight, in Holly. And Holly was an adorable little town, but their claim to fame is the waterfall. And the day we went, they actually had a school there doing like a day trip to Holly Falls. So we checked out the waterfall. We went into town. They had some antique stores we went through. The diner, unfortunately, wasn't reopened yet. So we didn't get to go to the diner that was there. So one less meal for us. You know?
Yeah, they had some pretty significant damage when part of the building collapsed, and it was really highly rated, and we were really hoping it would be rebuilt and ready to go. But unfortunately, when we went there, it hadn't made a reopening yet. So we missed it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So after checking out the falls, we hopped back on the boat and we were going into Lockport. And Lockport is known for the double locks.
Yeah. This was a pretty impressive thing to pull up to on the water. You'd come around this corner, and when you look, you're looking up at the town of Lockport. And again, as Amy mentioned, double locks. So you go into one lock, it actually equals out to another lock and then takes you up to the second, which is where the highest location is. And it is where you actually will dock and stay overnight.
Yeah.
Super cool experience. This was one of the only places, if not the only place though, where we did have to wait a little bit to enter the lock just because of its complicated operation. So we pulled off, for a lack of a better word, to the side of the canal. And there was a little tie-off spot where you can tie off and wait until it is your turn to enter into the lock.
So as he said, tied off, I hopped off, took some photos, walked around a little bit. We saw a deer. It was adorable. And we talked to some of the other people that were tied off as well. And then finally, we were able to go through the lock. I, as I said, am a little bit of a scaredy cat, but I survived. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, did good. We made it through both sets of locks. And then as soon as you come through that second top lock, you do a quick U-turn. Mm-hmm. And that is literally where you dock for the night, which is the old lock system when the canal first opened. So really just cool, historic. And there are only, I believe, 2, if not 3 spots where you can dock your boat for the night. So it was important to get there somewhat early to make sure you had a spot. And they actually park you in the order that you're pulling out in the morning. We only had one other boat there with us because not a lot of people make it out to Lockport. They were a super nice couple as well. And we just talked with each other and said, all right, our goal is to leave at this time. What time is your goal to leave at? And we came up with a time together. That's what time we told the lockmaster. And that was what time we left in the morning the next day.
Yeah.
However, Amy found a great spot for dinner.
Yeah, so this happened to be Jonathan's birthday. So that night we ate at Seamus's. It was so good. It was very good. I think I had fried chicken and you had some pasta seafood dish.
It was phenomenal. It was like a seafood fradialo or something along those lines. Just really, really good taste to it.
Yeah. And then we also, of course, had to get dessert. So we went to Lake Effect ice cream. That was also very good.
And walking distance back to the boat. So we were able to sit down, enjoy, and then just mosey on back to the boat to tuck ourselves in and close and lock the boat for the night.
Yeah. So yeah, as Jonathan mentioned, that next morning, we had timed it well with the other passengers, and they left first, and they left early, and then we moseyed on out, and that was the furthest point that we went westbound. At that point, because you do have to make it back to Macedon within the 7 days. And so that was the furthest we could go while still guaranteeing we could get back to Macedon in time. So we headed back down the canal and we'd skip towns along the way. And so we hit them on the way back. So the first one we went to was Albion.
Albion was a really tiny, tiny town. There was not a whole lot going on. So what we ended up doing, we docked there, and it was later in the day because this was a longer trip to get back to this town. There were a few antique stores along the way, but of course, as we had mentioned in the past, both Amy and I needed to find something to have for dessert that night. Yeah. So we stumbled across via Google a place called Confection Connection Cookies. And this place was run out of a house. So we didn't know what to expect, but we essentially showed up there by walking and rang the doorbell. And this woman answered, put her 2 dogs or multiple dogs away. And in we walked into a section of her house that she had turned into her Confection Connection cookie location.
And I should say the dogs are not in the bakery. They were in another area. He just means put them where we couldn't hear the barking. So the cookies are safe.
Yeah. And they were delicious too.
So good.
So we bought some cookies from her for that night's dessert. And then we headed back towards the boat and we used our propane gas grill for the second night of barbecuing, and we made some steaks that night, which ended up being really, really good.
Yeah, they were delicious. He did a fantastic job. So yeah, as he said, the other towns were small towns, but Albion in particular was small town. And you just have to remind yourself how these towns were affected once big industry left New York. So you can see that a lot of people left, and the people that stayed, you know, are enjoying kind of a different way of life. They're not big city people and they don't want to be.
Yeah, and even cruising up and down the canal, like people would come out and say hello or say, hey, do you want us to throw anything over to you? Do you need anything on the boat? So just really friendly people, which really made the journey even better. We even saw people going and coming and stopped in to say hi to them again. So just a lot of fun. So after Albion, we pushed off from our dock there and we headed over to Spencerport.
Spencerport, yeah. So at Spencerport, we of course stopped and got some ice cream from Vic's Ice Cream. And also in Spencerport, and you can see it pretty much immediately as you're pulling in, they have a grocery store. So this day we also went ahead, popped in for some groceries, probably replenished our cheese supply because I gotta make my grilled cheeses at lunch. What else did we do? Oh, they have a canal museum.
Yep. It was a free canal museum. You could just walk in. Nothing grand or elaborate, but it really took you through some of the history of the canal. So cool to see since you're cruising on the canal.
Yeah. And then we stopped in for dinner to Grandpa Sam's Italian, which was very good. I think you again got a seafood pasta.
Yep.
And I had like a pesto tortellini, I think.
Just really good. Really good. And of course, we needed our dessert to take back onto the boat. So we actually took some homemade cookies back. They sell them by, I think by the ounce they were selling them. So we took, I want to say it was either a quarter or half a pound of cookies, back to the boat, and we snacked on those for the next couple of days on our journey.
Yeah, it was so good. So the next morning, we hit the road, the water, and we headed to Fairport. And Fairport, we knew we were going to enjoy just from when we passed through the first time. It was pretty bustling, I would say. And they had a really cool lift bridge as you came through it. So we did get to do our lift bridge process again. And it was just a beautiful little town.
Yeah, you actually dock between two lift bridges. So you're kind of surrounded by the lift bridges, but really beautiful, especially at night. This was the only day along our journey, and we should have mentioned we went in August. This was the only day along this journey where it rained. Yeah. But it wasn't a huge deal. We were already docked, so there were no issues in terms of weather and getting to where you needed to go. Although if it was raining along your journey, you're covered, so you're good to continue to cruise. But it rained for, I would say, about an hour, so we just walked back to the boat, hung out, relaxed, and then once it stopped, walked back out into the town.
Yeah. So I'll also say this day was the actual holiday of the holiday weekend.
Yep.
So everything was closed. So we walked around the town. We hopped on to Groupon. And we found a Groupon for a bowling alley. So we ended up walking to the bowling alley. It was the first time we had bowled together. He got to see how terrible I was.
It was a long walk. It was like a 30-minute walk, I think,
Yeah.
from the canal to the bowling alley. But we had time to kill.
Yeah.
Well, what else were we going to do?
Yeah, definitely. So then we walked back to the town. And this is where not checking Google got us. Or not calling, I should say. We checked Google and it said, oh, they close at 9. When we got to the restaurant we wanted to eat at, they're like, oh, we're closing early. And it was like 5:30.
It was really
very early. So we continued walking around to try and find food because, we famished. We had not eaten enough the rest of the trip. And not much was open. So this night we ate at a random bar. And it was really funny because you walk to the back of the bar, order at this little window, and that night they had a special. And it was a chicken sandwich, fries, and I think we got water. I don't think it included the drink. But it was like $5.
$5.
So we were like, yes.
And the chicken sandwich was for
good.
Bar food was pretty good.
It was very good.
And there were, you can tell, just a few locals hanging out at the bar and then a few playing pool in the back. And then there was us on the Erie Canal adventure. So fun little way to end the journey on the canal. And this was a great last stop for us because, as Amy had mentioned, we had to get the boat back to Macedon by a certain time in the morning. I want to say it was 8 a.m. in the morning. So. And it was only about an hour, if not less, from Fairport to Macedon. So we didn't have to wake up super early or change our routine. The next morning we woke up, started the boat back up, and off we went back to Macedon to end the trip. So very easy. And the other crazy part, it was the holiday weekend still, so nobody was at Erie Canal Adventures. They didn't have any journeys going out that day. So we brought the boat in, unloaded our boat, tied it off, put everything away, made sure the boat was all tidied back up, and then just left the keys in the boat. And off we went. We called for a ride share to come and get us, and they brought us to the airport.
Yeah. So I guess the question on everyone's mind, I'm sure, is would we do this again?
Yeah, so we talk about it. And while we did enjoy it, we thought 7 days might be a little bit too long because after like day 3 or 4, all the towns look the same and there isn't much to do. And it's not to say we're nightlife people, but being tucked into bed by 8 p.m., is not generally what we enjoy doing.
Yeah. But I ended up loving being on the water. So those cruising days, absolutely love. So I think we almost wonder if going eastbound is the way to do it. because we have heard good things about the eastbound itinerary, just that maybe not that the towns are bigger, but it's just a different experience that, you know, maybe we might enjoy. So I think we're both absolutely thrilled we did it. It was a great experience, and I would recommend it if you do want to do something just completely out of the box. But you have to go in with expectations that these are not big towns, and they're tiny towns, and they in some ways have tiny town problems where industry has left. So you have to go in with that frame of mind.
Yeah, go into it thinking this is going to be a relaxing vacation with not a lot of running around or things that you need to do or see. But it definitely has sparked some conversation between Amy and I of, do we try this abroad? There are other places abroad that offer a very similar style vacation. And I think, and I know Amy thinks because she started looking them up already, that one day we will see ourselves doing this again, just in a different location in our fantastic world.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed learning about Erie Canal adventures. It is something that, you know, I think a lot of people would enjoy if they knew it existed.
Yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. We're more than happy to elaborate or give more detail if this is something you're interested in doing, or do I need to bring this? Should I not bring that? Because I do think that we had some of those questions going into it, and hopefully this video shows you a little bit more about the boat itself and some of the towns and maybe a few places that you can stop in and eat. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on our next video. Have a great one, everyone. Bye-bye.